Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. It's Sunday night. It's time for our regular live stream. And you guys have noticed we've rebranded just a little bit. So welcome to the Workshop Podcast. This will be what is episode 29. Anyway, before we get into it, I've got a great guest coming on tonight, Brian from the Lots Project. We're going to get him on in just a minute. He's going to talk to us about living in an RV, building a really cool off-grid RV, and him and Kori's plans and their life with their great big dogs that they have. So we're going to get to it, but real quick, I got just a few more announcements than normal, but you guys will notice through November into early spring is my snow time, so I have a lot more time to do tech work. So you're going to see a lot of small little changes around the channel and the content that I'm creating. So the first one you may have just noticed, we have a slightly different mission statement. Nothing real serious, but we dropped the building business and we added promoting preparedness. I think that more accurately reflects what all we talk about on here and the things that we're all interested in. So that's a small change, might sound different. It'll all take a little getting used to for us, but hey, John. Hi, Ted. My daughter Charlotte's in here. We see Amy Dingman. Chris, I haven't seen you in a little while. I know Scramblin' Bojangles is in here as well. We had the biggest crew we've had yet hanging out in. I was kind of worried we are going to run out of space in the lobby because everybody was waiting around to get in here. So it was good. But so as far as that goes, I told you about the new mission statement that we've changed. In November, you guys are going to see a daily prepper deal of the day. That's kind of redundant, but I'm going to be doing a kind of an experiment with YouTube Shorts where every day I post the best deal I found on Amazon of a prepping related product. So if you want to check those out, it's great. Today's was 33% off a Zippo hand warmer, which I love them. I think they're great. And it was a killer deal. So I had to share it. From now on, we're going to be doing 2 live streams a week, Thursday and Sunday, both 9 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Mountain Time. So get used to it. They're going to both be episodes of the Workshop Podcast. And then also we're going to be using the Saturday pre-recorded weekend workshop as a third episode each week. So that one, you'll see 3 episodes a week in the podcast feed. And something really kind of cool. This came out of my appearance on the Prepper Broadcast Network. I did a one-off show with them on home preparedness. So the Thursday live streams for the next little while are going to be called Reparedness. And it's going to be prepping for home maintenance when help isn't around the corner. We're going to go through all the different avenues of home maintenance, what we should keep on hand, the tools we should have, some of the skills we should have, and basically just taking a prepper mindset to home maintenance. Really excited. And Sundays are going to stay the same. We're going to have mostly interviews. I got a lot of really cool people coming up over the next couple of months. We're booked out until the new year, which is awesome. I won't spoil it or go too long tonight. And of course, because of that, doing 5 pieces of content a week, our Monday video series, Money Making Minute, is going to go on hiatus for a while. We're still going to do the community member spotlight the first Monday of every month. But as far as making that extra video, we're moving that into the Thursday live stream, which is exciting. And finally, I have managed to set up a second monitor on my system here. So I'm going to be able to live monitor the chats from Float and Odyssey as well. So if you're over on those platforms, don't feel like you've been ignored. I'm finally getting up and getting on board with being able to just keep an eye on it for you guys. So that's exciting. Anyway, so with all that out of the way, I know it was a lot to cover and you guys will see a lot more announcements, a lot of really cool changes, nothing serious as far as the content goes, just a lot of, spit and polish that we're putting together here to make things better for you and hopefully grow our community. So without further ado, let's bring on Brian from the Lots Project. There he is. How are you? You can hear me all the way in Minnesota, can you?
Yeah, we're all good.
Absolutely good. Those carrier pigeons are working overtime tonight. So,
yep, we got it done.
Yep, right on. Perfect. So, first off, Brian, tell us a little bit about who you are, what the Lots Project is, what you and Kori do, the whole works.
Well, my name's Brian. Beautiful wife Kori, and I've been married. I don't know. She's going to kill me, but I think 5 years now, 5.5 years. We got a couple of St. Bernards and a St. Bernard Great Dane mix. and we live on a 35-acre homestead in Minnesota for now. We've been here for, I think, 7 years. And a little while ago, about 2 years ago, we decided we didn't like Minnesota anymore for a variety of reasons. But we decided we wanted to find someplace else to do what we were doing here in a more reasonable climate, make things a little easier, that it's not so hard on the animals, and some more time to growing season, whatnot. So we decided we were going to move to Idaho in the banana belt there, and buy a yurt, put it on some raw land, and one day we looked at each other and said, "Why are we going to Idaho? We've never been there." So we kind of figured out that we needed to decide where we wanted to go, and came up with a plan to purchase an RV and go boondocking around the country and try to decide where we want to start again.
Had you spent much time in RVs before you
no.
up with it? No.
No, I mean, we both had camped through our lives, but never lived in one. The family camping trips and weekend trips and whatnot. But no, so we decided to do that and started to come up with a plan. Purchased the RV and did a lot of modifications to it, and actually just got back from our first long trip about a week ago.
Yeah, I followed along with you guys. So where did you go?
We traveled out to Washington, just outside Tacoma, to Squatch Fest. Brian Norton has got a piece of property out there and throws a little festival twice a year. And so we were trying for a goal to make that our first trip and to just continue on from there. We fell short for a couple of reasons, but so we took the trip out there and then came back to Minnesota, and we're wrapping some stuff up before we take off.
Got stuck in the mud the other day when you got home, did you?
Oh yeah. We didn't realize that it rained here the whole time we were gone, just like it rained there the whole time we were there, and pulled the truck out into the yard to back the trailer into the driveway, and sunk in about 9-10 inches, and had to get winched out by a tow truck. So
the lots project, because when I first heard that, I'm like, kind of scratched my bald head. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? So I think I've got it figured out now, but I'm not sure. So do you want to kind of, where'd you get the name from? What does it mean to you guys?
Well, it stands for living outside the system. I was wrong. When we started thinking we didn't want to live here, we were discovering a lot of things. We looked into some healthcare things that were going on, and never really been fond of the government and whatnot. And so we just realized that we wanted to live the way we wanted to live, that we didn't need the 9-to-5 job and the house and whatnot. And so we just generalized it out to the system, and we want to live a little counterculture, I guess, is a good way to put it.
Now, I seriously figured it meant like, kind of like a park, or not a parking lot, but a camping lot. You know what I mean? Like traveling around. Yeah. So it kind of has maybe a double.
Actually, we discussed that out at Squatch Fest. Brian and I, we were talking about having different lots around the country, and traveling to different lots and using them for different things. So it's definitely got a multifaceted name. But yeah, the original thing was living outside the system and just living our own way, and the way that's going to make us happy.
Well, see, you learn something new every day. I had absolutely zero clue. I honestly just figured it meant camping lots. Like, you go and you rent a lot for a night or a week or whatever. So, hey, that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, you were talking about it getting colder and being able to do the more tech side. And I was actually just talking to Kori about that today. Was as it gets colder and we've shut down all the farm stuff, and can't really work on the trailer anymore, so that's going to be full-time content creation and website and whatnot.
Just keep plugging away, man. Now, it's funny because one of my projects for this winter is we were actually in the process of selling our RV this year, and when we came in, It ended up, had it sold. They came to do a final inspection and we found a whole bunch of rot in one wall. So that's my project for this winter. But anyway, yeah, so it's fun.
Yeah.
So what did you guys end up settling on for a truck trailer combination, and how's it working for you so far?
We bought the trailer. We did a lot of research and decided to buy the trailer and then size the truck to the trailer after we bought it instead of the other way around. And so we went with a 32-foot Palomino Puma, used one, 2014, I think. And then to haul it around and make sure we had enough guts, we went with an old F-250 Super Duty.
How was it for fuel getting across the country?
Horrible.
Was it?
Oh yeah. It was horrible. I mean, we were weighted down. I think we weighed in right around 19,000 pounds before we took off. So, yeah, going through the mountains and whatnot. It was what it was. You know, when we start traveling, we don't plan on traveling that much. Like 3 hours and then staying for 5 to 14 days. And then moving another, 3 hours. So it's not going to be. We were making a long haul trip and a turnaround. So it was kind of rough.
So you say you guys are staying mostly on BLM land?
Yep.
And especially for the Canadians, because I had to Google that a few months ago when I first heard it. But what does that mean? What's it entail, and what kind of restrictions are in that?
Oh, it's the Bureau of Land Management. It's a government agency here in the U.S. that they have donated land, stolen land as far as I'm concerned. But
absolutely,
if it's there and it's available, I might as well use it. I mean, I think I've paid my taxes enough throughout the year to have a couple free nights on some rural land. But they have dispersed camping. So on the land, there'll be maintained driveways. Some of them are like boat launches or river access. And then they have areas where you can set up camp. And depending on the area, it can be for 3 nights. It can be for up to 14 nights, I think is the longest one I've seen, where you can stay. And then you have to move a minimum of 30 miles, I think.
Okay. So they maximum 2 weeks and then you got to move on somewhere.
Yep.
Okay. Chris says that's a nice trailer. Heavy when filled up, but a well-built unit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we stripped it down pretty much right when we got it. We pulled out everything except the kitchen counter, the stove, and the refrigerator.
Okay.
And the bathtub and shower are still the same. But other than that, we pulled out all the stock furniture, beds, all the fixtures, and it was pretty much, we left the paneling on the wall, but everything else was pulled out, and then we redid everything.
And with an eye toward eliminating or keeping the weight as low as possible, or just customizing more?
Yes and no. Like the solar system was pretty heavy. All in, the batteries and whatnot adds a lot of weight, but it was designed so that was right close to the axle and balanced out. So we kept weight in mind, and then as we started filling it up and getting closer to leaving, we hauled it over to a cat scale and got a weight on it, and then kind of went from there. With the truck, and because we're looking to have everything we own in that trailer and in the back of the truck. So. And we have that extra 600 and some pounds of dog with us too, that you have to consider.
Well, I got to say, I always joke with my wife, but I would imagine one of your dogs, I imagine their poo would be about as big as any one of my Chihuahuas. So I can't imagine traveling with them, but
yeah, it's an interesting adventure. We ended up having to take the back seat out of the truck, and I built a platform. There was so much wasted space for them to lay down and just move around back there. And so I decided to pull the back seat out, and then built a little platform on stilts, and they use a ramp to get in, and they have plenty of room, and they seem pretty comfortable. Well, we would start traveling, they'd be up for a little bit, and then they'd zonk out, and we'd 5-6 hours, and then they're just ready to get out and kind of walk around a little bit. They're kind of a perfect breed to just sleep.
You said they're real good travelers, are they?
Yeah, they've been great, and we lived in the trailer in the driveway for I think 5 months before we left while we were working on it, and they were in there with us, so they were really used to it, and I think they like to stick close because they don't know when we're leaving,
Right.
so they just want to stick close, and we got some cables. We tie them to the pull hitch on the front of the truck with some cables, and just kind of let them wander in the campsite when we're hanging out. And
that's cool. I have fur babies. If you guys want to see something cool, like, I mean, obviously follow their channel, but baby Walter, and I get a kick out of the fact that they call him baby because he is anything but a baby at this point. But so yeah, I guess I'm going to backtrack just a little bit here. And I don't know if you want to, you mentioned the solar system. And of course I've been building my own little solar system here and I've been digging into it, learning at least, but do you want to talk about, I mean, I'd love to hear about all the different modifications you've done, but first start with the solar. Tell us what you've built, what you found, that kind of stuff with it.
So I was looking through at prefab systems and just stock kits that you would just order off the internet, and wanted to do a little bit more in depth than that and really design it to what we wanted. Reached out to a couple different companies and talked to a few people, and then actually found somebody through the pirate chain community that he doesn't do RV solar, but since we were part of that same community, he agreed to help me kind of design a system. We spent months doing it. It's probably one of the biggest solo projects, like not for a work project, but that I've ever worked on. And so we designed it and spec'd it all out, and then I ordered everything in, and it was just, it was a major project. And then it all showed up, and I had to figure out how to install it. So, yeah, it was interesting. So we got, I think 1,330 watts of panel.
Oh, wow.
320 amp hour of lithium batteries, and a nice charge controller. And then we have a couple of leads for generator power and shore power, and then a big control box where, I mean, I wired in a whole control box. I have all the video of it. I've just haven't been able to edit it yet. So that's something that's coming up in the winter here as it gets colder, is I'll be able to get a bunch of that edited and put up on YouTube.
I'm looking for, I like, yeah. So what were you able, so did you kind of run the solar a little bit, and what were you
That's
able
all
to
we were on.
That, so you didn't have a backup generator with you at all? Or?
We had a generator with us. We turned it on once on day, I think 9 or 10, and we really didn't need to when we traveled. We actually got some sun, and it charged up enough. But the whole time we were in Washington, we were pretty well charged up when we left Idaho. We arrived in Washington, and I don't think we saw the sun till we were headed out of Washington into Idaho again, and the batteries held up. The little bit of solar array we got during the day was enough to hold on, and experiencing it for a good 4 months, we learned how to kind of conserve and what to use when, and how to make it last.
Okay. So what were your main draws? Like, how much power were you using in the run of a day?
It would be maybe the water pump is something that kind of pulls. Our lights are pretty good. We have LED lights. Our router pulls a little bit constantly 24/7, and then there's a little draw from the exhaust fan on the composting toilet, and that runs constantly to keep airflow through there, to keep it from smelling.
I saw your video today there, and you're right next to the vent, and you couldn't even smell it.
No, it just smells like actually rich soil. To be honest, some really good compost.
Well, probably, I hope you don't mind me jumping around just a little bit, but now that we're talking about composting toilets, so how did you even install that in a camper, and how's it working for you so far?
It's fantastic. We love it. So we found there were a couple different models that you could use, and they were both marine for like boats.
Mm-hmm.
So they're compact and they're designed to be smaller and to fit on a smaller boat that you're going to go out for a few weeks or whatnot, and you want a toilet. And so we pulled the toilet off the mount where it's above the black tank, and then sealed that up with a drain plug, and then built a little platform and installed that toilet right on top of where the old toilet was. It just doesn't go to the black tank.
So this might be my ignorance talking when it comes to composting toilets, but how long, like how many times can you go to the bathroom in one of those before you need to clean them out?
So it was 2.5 weeks of 2 adults, and we emptied it when we got back because we had to, because we were shutting it down for the winter.
Okay.
We would have probably had another week to 2 weeks, I would guess. The more you use it and the better the conditions, like the moisture out in Washington, everything in the camper was wet, everything,
Sure.
the whole time. We ran the wood stove to kind of try to dry it out a little bit, and it helped, but that also affected the composting toilet. It stayed a little moister, so it didn't break down as quickly. And I would say anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks for 2 adults.
That's really good. And then, so what's the process in eliminating what's in there at that point?
You can do a couple different things with it. You can throw it in the municipal garbage. It's basically soil. When we cleaned it out the first time, we were expecting it to be all stinky and nasty, and it is basically. So you start with cocoa core, and then you make your deposits and kind of spin it up, and it kind of dries it out, and it just takes on that soil texture, and you just dump it in a garbage bag, and you can put it in the trash, or we won't go back to a septic system. When we came back and went to the house, we like the other system right now. So we'll probably stay with that if we end up permanently somewhere, and then you would let it sit for 2 years. And then you could mix it right in, probably more with trees. I don't know if I'd be throwing it in my garden even after 2 years, but
And
fertilizer for trees.
Does the whole thing, I can't remember if I've seen it in the video or not, but is the whole thing permanently mounted in there, or is it more of a pick it up and move it type rig?
It's got 2 brackets. It's actually got 4 brackets, 2 brackets for the solids container, and then there's a liquid. It separates the liquid solid, and then you empty the liquid jug separate. So it's got brackets that comes out, and then you empty that and you slide it back in. And then when the bottom's full, you undo the brackets, you could take the whole thing right out.
That's really cool. So, and you said you empty the liquid separate. So that's something you do on a fairly regular basis?
Yeah, quite a bit more. I actually don't use the liquid. I find
just
other places to go.
Just a country.
If I don't use it, I don't have to empty it.
Just go outside and take a leak, right? So I get it.
Yeah. I'm equipped to go other places.
yeah. That's how we were made, wasn't it? So like, I know we're talking about, being off grid and that kind of stuff, but I mean, you got the solar panels, you've got a composting toilet, and then you mentioned a wood stove, which I think is the craziest thing that I've seen yet. So talk about that a little bit, because I friggin' love it. Like, it's cool.
So we did some research when we were looking into the yurt. We wanted to do wood heat, but we didn't need some huge wood stove in a 800 square foot yurt. So there's a few options out there for tiny wood stoves, and looked into a couple different companies, and we settled on Cubic Mini Wood Stove. Ordered it up. They have 2 sizes. Actually, people use them in vans they live in. They'll put them in there. There's a smaller size, and then our size. It did really good. It takes 6-inch long wood. That's as long as it can be, and then probably like your normal if you pick one up at the gas station, a bundle of wood at a gas station for a campfire, if you cut that down into 6-inch pieces, and then some of the larger ones you have to split again, but that's about that size that you'd get in one of those little campfire bundles. And Yeah, it vents right out the top, and it's got some metal heat shields that go around it to keep it so we can have it within 3 inches of a wall with the heat shields that you can purchase to install it. So it's definitely made to go in a little compact, tiny space and be safe.
So how was the chimney or the vent? I don't know if they even called it a chimney for that or not, but how you had to drill a hole in your roof?
Stovepipe. Yeah, stovepipe installation was a little nerve-wracking when I had to drill a 7-inch hole in the ceiling of the camper with a hole saw. And yeah, I was just standing up on top going, if this is in the wrong spot, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Imagine you talk about measure twice and cut once. That was measure like 8 or 9 times and then drill a hole and poke and pray. And it was luckily in the right spot, and it worked out good. But yeah, it was a little nerve wracking.
So you used did you have a 7-inch hole saw?
Yeah.
Holy, that wasn't cheap, was it?
It was $20 on Amazon.
Oh my God, that's incredible. That's way better then. Okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I ended up buying I think a 7-inch, a 5-inch, and a 4-inch for this project, and they were all in that $15 to $20 range, made offshore.
Oh, that's, you know what,
I wouldn't want to rely on them long term, but I was going through plywood for one job and I was like, yeah, it'll do.
So what kind of chimney is just single walled stovepipe, or is it kind of insulated?
It's a double wall 3-inch inside 5-inch with a really rock wool insulation in between the 3 and the 5. So it's where you get your good insulation through the ceiling.
And you can put your hand, like that's the type of thing you could run up against. Yeah, it's like the Selkirk type. Do you know Selkirk chimneys? Yeah, so it's like a smaller version of that then, I'm guessing.
Yep. And then when we travel, I go up and I take the top of the stovepipe off, the kind of the
you got like a ring cap or something.
The chimney hat, and so I take that off, and then I picked up a 5-inch rubber adjustable plug to put on top. Otherwise, the draft will blow all the ash inside. It'll just explode all inside the camper. So, when we get where we're going, I'd go up and throw it on. I got a little ice cream bucket that's got all the screws and the screwdrivers and everything I need, and just kind of go back and forth, and gives me a chance to get up there and check out the solar panels and make sure everything's tight. Made some adjustments on the road as we were going, and so just checking everything all the time, making sure everything's staying good.
So what you said, you made some adjustments on the road? What'd you end up doing?
Just had some brackets that wiggled loose a little bit on the solar panels. They weren't ready to fly off by any means, but just tightened them up. And we were out in Montana, and I was up on the top of the trailer and just looking at the view, and I was like, this is kind of what you're supposed to be doing, I think.
Yeah, friggin' awesome, eh?
And we had had our steps break. We were there around the way home. Actually, we were about 3 days out. We have two doors on the camper, and one of the sets of steps stepped on it, and one of the bracket that holds the one side snapped right off and kind of took a tumble out the door. And so we didn't use those steps the rest of the trip, and get to replace those at some point before we take off again, or soon after we take off again. And got to get pulled out by an excavator when we were leaving Squatch Fest after sitting for 5 days of pouring rain. We kind of sunk in, and the neighbor was kind enough to pull us out with an excavator he had.
Were you the only ones there with an RV, or?
Oh no. He had actually helped pull another person with the RV in a few days earlier, but they were going uphill, and they rodeoed it right down the hill on the way out. So we made our way out, and the excavator was going up to help them. All of a sudden, they came strolling down the hill at a high rate of pace, and
just kept going.
Yep, just keep moving.
So that wood stove, how much does that thing weigh? I never asked you that. I went on their website, I think, a little while back, but like, can you just pick it up and carry it?
60 pounds, I think, 70 pounds.
That's really cool. I'm going to look into one of those, because it'd probably make even like a decent little wood stove for a small like garage or a workshop or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it says up to 700 square feet.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. That would be insulated, obviously, but like a little shed, like a 10 by 20 shed, that thing would be perfect. It'd probably burn you out of there. You'd have to damp it down to stay in there once it got rolling.
See, my brain starts working here too. So then I'm thinking like, because a lot of places with insurance and stuff don't love wood stoves, right? But
Yep.
I'm thinking, in a kind of shit hits the fan situation where you've got nothing else, I mean, that would, in theory, not that anybody would ever talk about it and insurance would never know, but, you could probably set that up in a living room,
Oh yeah.
Curtain off the rest of the rooms and heat with a fairly small wood source, I'm thinking, eh?
Yeah. We burned, I think we burned 9 fires, and that was 2 of those gas station bundles of wood. And then we brought a little bit that wasn't very good. It was just some deadfall we had found before we left, and it was damper than I had thought. But once we grabbed the firewood from the gas station, and I had a Sawzall with me, cordless Sawzall, and knocked them down to 6 inches, and had a splitting maul, and the bigger ones I just tapped them, and I was throw them in a Rubbermaid roughneck tote, and no cutting and stacking cords by any means.
Well, so you just 2 bundles is what lasted. So was that like, how long would you burn for?
We started up probably around 5 o'clock in the evening before it started getting too cold, and then we would burn it till 11, whenever we'd go to bed, and it would burn out probably an hour to an hour and 45 minutes after we went to bed. And then obviously the metal is warm too, so it radiates for a little while. And then we also have the propane furnace, and because we didn't want to be getting up all night and stoking it, we would set the thermostat, and so we'd let the fire burn out, and then the propane furnace would kick on after that burned out. So we were just conserving propane, basically.
So if not that a fellow would want to get up in the middle of the night per se, but honestly, by the sounds of how much you were running it, if you doubled your wood consumption, you could have burned all night too, then I'm thinking, or pretty close.
Sure. Oh, for sure.
That's
and
awesome.
I mean, you could stack it up and damp it down and let it run for 2 hours, and just made sure you had a lot of blankets, and it'd be a chilly morning, but it doesn't take much to get it going either with that short stovepipe and all the draft that it creates. It takes right off. You have dry wood and a little kindling, it's 5 minutes. And then we picked up it's called an eco fan.
Yep, I have those.
Yeah, so when it runs off the heat, and it's fun to watch it start. Like you start the little flame on the kindling, and you shut it, and you can tell the draft's pulling it. So you just kind of go over and you're drinking your coffee, and all of a sudden that fan just starts spinning real slow, and then faster and faster. You look over, all of a sudden it's just humming along, and that stove's hot.
And those things, for anybody who don't know, they're cool because there's no battery, there's no power. They just run by I guess it's thermal and convection, right? As they heat up. I guess there's some sort of, at least in my experience, a bit of a microchip or something in them, because we used to have a fairly large amount of them returned to the hardware store, because whatever that little gear thing was in it, if people had too hot of fires, it could burn out. But
yeah, it does. It had a high temp limit. I can't remember. It was like 800 degrees or something that I'm not going to get on my little wood stove. But yeah, you get a Rager and a big old wood stove, and you could probably melt the wires and stuff in that too.
Amy from Farmer's Kind of Life, I guess great minds think alike, but she said, I'm thinking exactly what you're thinking with the wood stove and a shit hits the fan situation. So, and how much did you, if I missed it, sorry, but did you say how much you paid for it roughly?
I think all in with stovepipe, everything, I think I was at $1,100. And
Jeez.
They're out of Canada. You'd actually got yours quicker than I got mine, because they're out of Ontario. And I think we went everything we ordered, we waited on. Actually, the solar came really quick, and that was the one I was worried most about. But the composting toilet, I think we waited 13 weeks.
Okay.
And the wood stove was a good at least it was over 2 months. But I think we were all in around 1,100 US.
You gonna do when you're all said and done and on the road, like a video showing all the different modifications and things like that you've done?
Yeah, absolutely. I took video as much as I could. I took a week off of work, off of my day job, and just did installs every day. I think I worked 16, 17 hours a day and was filming everything. And so I have all that on the computer that needs to get edited, and that's kind of the videos that, like the one you saw today, that was taken during some of that time, and so I have all that to edit, and then I'll be doing walkarounds with the camper. We have more modifications we want to make, and some repairs from the trip, like the stairs are got to get changed. And the truck's got a little bit more work to do to it. And so, yeah, we'll have new content. Thinking on a podcast, actually, of
nice,
just, my 5 to 10 minute random thoughts every day that pound around in my brain. I got 1,000 things going on, and my wife doesn't want to listen to them all, so I might as well share them with everybody else.
Hey, it's the same reason I started reviewing tools, because my wife got tired of me talking about DeWalt, and then it just takes a life of its own, She's like,
yep.
But I know she loves me, because she did bring me home a new DeWalt hammer yesterday from Home Depot, so that's worth something, right? But
nice.
So, are you guys? So, what's your? I mean, I know your long-term goal is full timing. So, how close are you to that, and what's in your way right now of going full time?
Well, we both have full-time jobs. So everything we do takes, 5 times as long, because we work that, I'm anywhere from 40 to 60 hours a week, and doing stuff on top of that. But right now we're kind of getting our house in order to sell. We're moving into I think it's like 300 square foot camper from a 1,800 square foot house with 2 barns and a detached garage. So, we got a lot of stuff to go through, a lot of stuff to get rid of. So we're kind of going through that process right now. Once we sell the house, hopefully that's going to kind of fund a little bit of the get-go, and then move to, everybody's going to remote work. So I'm hoping that there's plenty out there.
There will be.
I got a lot of different skills, a bunch of different skill sets. So kind of pursuing a bunch of different options with online income and remote income. And so as soon as we have the house ready, sell the house for the right price, we're going to kind of get rolling. So whenever it happens, and we're willing to just kind of go with it. That's what we're going with the whole adventure. It happened a couple times on the way out where things kind of didn't go our way, and we ended up having to go for something on the fly, and picked a spot and went there, and it turned out just absolutely amazing. So
I'm looking forward to, because I'm sure, like you said, you got a house and a couple of outbuildings and that sort of thing. And when you're in the preparedness mindset, sometimes we tend to maybe have a little too much stuff. Correct? Am I?
Oh yeah, just a little bit too much stuff. Yeah, right now I'm going through it all, and it's absolutely amazing. I mean, we've been here for 7 years, and we moved from a larger house, but none of the outbuildings, and just the stuff we've accumulated in 7 years has been unreal. So, getting rid of it, I mean, it's got value. The stuff that we picked up, it was all for all the projects that we did here, and the different, we ran chickens and turkeys and quail, and all the tools to build all the cages and everything. And I put in I fenced in over an acre around our house, and put all the posts in with a hand auger, a hand post hole digger, and then I sprung for the gas auger. It's kind of similar to a ice fishing auger, but for the ground. And so hand installed that fence. It's a lot of equipment, just everything you got to get.
Have you seen the battery powered auger by Ryobi?
Oh yeah.
I'm actually kind of a little bit envious of it. I don't have any Ryobi tools, or Ryobi, anyway, but I do I'm looking forward to it. And for the record, my daughter's in the chat room as well, and she also agrees that we have lots of stuff. Everything we have has a purpose and a place, but the reason I brought that up, though, is I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys continue your prepping and preparedness, I guess, in a minimalistic and mobile lifestyle.
Yep.
Do you have any plans? Like, I know that's a little off, but
no, yeah, it's something that I think about for sure. Like I said, we started thinking about this. It was maybe a little over 2 years ago. So prior to, we knew the crazy was coming, but the full on blown crazy of the COVID just hadn't come in yet. So, we've kind of persevered through this. We're setting ourselves up. We talked earlier, and I told you that really our limitation is fresh water. I've got enough skills as if I got to go fishing, I got to go fishing. But as much cans as I pulled out of that camper when we got back and had to winterize it, we wouldn't have wanted for food for a while. Let's just put it that way. And we're grid independent. As long as I can find some propane or just not use power until I get some sun, I'm pretty well set there. And so I'm hoping to do a lot of networking and one of the income ideas that I've thought about was kind of a work share type of thing. I got a lot of farming, homesteading knowledge and project knowledge and animal husbandry. And, you let me park for a while and I can do some work for you and help you fix your fence or help you to get your chickens set up or figure out what's going wrong,
Be like a handyman for hire type thing, travel around. And I love it.
Yep. So open to pretty much anything.
Whatever pays the bills and allows you to have that nomadic lifestyle, I suppose.
Yep. And then we eventually, we guaranteed each other we'd do it for a year, and then kind of reevaluate at that point. And there's some different spots that we want to make sure we hit in that year, and possibly a couple times in the summer and in the winter, and kind of get a feel for what the area is like. And then after a year, if we want to start looking at a property or if we find something, that feels right along the way, I'm not opposed to buying a property and continuing to travel either. So just kind of find a spot and end up settling down maybe.
So yeah, I mean, whatever then, right? Either one. If you find the right thing along the way, your guys are going to settle down a bit. And if you don't, you just keep traveling perhaps.
Yeah, we might pick up something here and there and just hit them at different times of the year. We've kind of batted around the idea of using elevation to control climate. So having a couple of different properties at different elevations, relatively close to each other, and kind of move with the seasons.
One thing I thought about when we're talking about prepping, though, of course, is being in an RV, you can bug in and bug out at the same time. So I kind of like that. Like you can literally, you have everything you need, but you can also take it with you on the road. So
yep.
Amy's got a question for you too. Is there anything that's super tricky about being off grid in an RV with those 3 tiny dogs? I mean, great big dogs that you have.
Water.
Oh, I never thought of that. So
water, they drink a lot of water and they waste a lot of water because I
was going to say that it comes out the other end too, doesn't it?
Well, they drool too. So they start drinking out of a water bowl and it gets a third empty and it's all drool. So you have to throw out the rest because I'm not going to make them drink that. So yeah, definitely the water was something I didn't expect, and the weight of their food. If we want to go out for 2 weeks, we're looking at probably 120 pounds of food for them. So it's
for 2 weeks.
Well, just to make sure we got enough. But yeah, we stock up every time we get near someplace. We run with I think 2 40-gallon Rubbermaid totes is what we try to keep on hand.
Do you I never asked you, is it a fifth wheel or it's a bumper hitch, isn't it? Or bumper
It's pull? A bumper hitch.
So what do you put in the back of your truck?
So right now we have a 75-gallon freshwater tank that we have.
That was my next question. Okay.
And then we have a generator, a couple propane tanks, tools, just the random miscellaneous stuff that's not in the camper.
So you said the drool thing. Is that much of an issue around the camper itself, or is it just you just kind of
the floor is like an ice skating rink. Yeah, we're constantly throwing towels down and whatnot. They drool all over that floor, and it's like an ice skating rink.
So did you, like when you said you lived in a camper for about 6 months? Did you say ahead of time? Or 4 months?
I think Kori moved in originally in June.
Okay. And
So
what did you do? I mean, I guess you had some flexibility and freedom because you were still living on your property. But what
mhm.
did you do early on that might have been that you changed with the dogs? Anything much or?
Um, no, just shuffling around where they had room to kind of spread out, and where we were going to have their beds, and where we fed them, and just their routine. Um, they adapt real well. They're pretty easygoing, and it's great.
My fellow Albertan here, Chris, he has another one for you. He says, have you thought about replacing the Blackwater tank with another freshwater tank?
Actually, we tied our gray water and our black water tank together so we can hold more gray water.
So just to be able to go longer without having to empty it?
Yep. Yep. Because we have we have the stock tank. I believe it was 42 gallons of fresh water, and then we put a 75-gallon freshwater tank in the back of the truck, so we can go if we find when we went to Squatch Fest, we found a state park close, and we just used their freshwater fill up and fill up. We ran hoses from the tank. The tank's right in the front of the bed by the cab.
Yep.
And then I have a spare RV water pump. In case our water pump goes bad, we have another one I can throw in.
That's a great
idea. And then
idea.
I just wired that to some alligator clips and run it off the battery of the truck, and can pump that 75 gallons in. So if we're fully loaded, we have over 100 gallons going into the field, and then we don't have to pull the camper to fill it up. We can just take the truck wherever we got to go to get more water if we wanted to stay.
New RVers don't realize how nice that is. Hey, being able to, yeah,
it was nice. We carry, I think right now we only have two 6-gallon jerry cans too that we'll fill up if we're at some place, and then that's just more water.
Yeah. That's awesome. We used to take, and we had 4 or 6 maybe extra that we'd store underneath our collapse or our fold up bed, and that was great because it was just a little extra just in case. And if you're already on site and you didn't want to go get some water, a lot of times 2 or 3 trips with the tank or with the jerry cans, and you could have a decently full, enough to get you by anyway, right?
Yep. And then so when we got back, we actually still had some of the fresh water from Washington that we when we were winterizing the camper. We also had to winterize the water tank in the truck and draining that out. And I was filling up jerry cans with water from Washington because we didn't even go through it all on the way back.
And so if you guys watch his videos, but I seen Kori's process for doing laundry, which saves you quite a bit of water. And all I could think of was, I'm glad that's not me doing it. But can you talk about that a little bit? I know that's kind of her shtick, but I know you know about it too, right? So
yeah. So we cut down the amount of clothes we have. It's a lot of the same t-shirts and one pair of jeans and a bunch of clean t-shirts and one sweatshirt. And she hand does the laundry. We have collapsible, like a collapsible Rubbermaid tote that you get. It's probably like a half a load of normal laundry, and you kind of get it in there. And she has this washing wand, and she makes her own laundry detergent out of, I think it's Castile soap and some other stuff that she grinds up. I don't know. I help her grind it when she hands me the bar and says grate this into the can. That's what I do. I don't really ask questions. Yes, yeah. And then you get them, you kind of soak them, and you dissolve the soap in the water, and you agitate it with it's like a wand that blows air when you, I don't know, mix it around. It blows air into the laundry and agitates it. And then we got an old school clothes wringer.
I love that thing.
And and hang it out to dry. We were I think we did laundry twice on our trip, so we got enough laundry for like a week. And then we were drying it out in North Dakota, and we had everything in the back of the truck sprawled out in this camping area, trying to hold up our clotheslines because the wind was blowing so hard. That was pretty crazy.
Letty over on Float, she says, so much dog slobber. So I wanted to get her in there too. So it's nice to see her. But yeah, I can't even. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, we have some videos on. So we kind of share our YouTube channel, kind of my camper stuff, and then she does all the social media for the dogs, and we kind of share that YouTube channel. And there's plenty of videos with slobber in them for sure.
It's when you come down to it, it's really Walter's Instagram and YouTube channel, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Walter's the star, so he's pretty damn cute, you know. But
yep. He makes it easy.
If you guys like, you're talking about combining your two Blackwater tanks or your gray and Blackwater tanks.
Yep.
I seen Brian's video today, and it was really the little adapter that you use. That was really cool. What you seem really good at finding these weird little gadgets that solve just that one little problem for an RV. You know what I mean? So where do you, I know you talk about Amazon a lot, but talk about that one or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I watch a lot of videos. The more videos you watch, the little things you pick up, and I've always been a proponent of watching everything I can and taking a little bit here, a little bit there, and then I come up with my own stuff. And I watched a video one day. I was trying to figure out how to combine the two tanks, and wondering if I was going to have to do like bulkheads or this or that. And I happened to come upon a video, and it just dawned on me. She had the valve in her hand, and I'm like, oh, of course. I mean, those two lines come down and go into one pipe. And if I put a block off on the end of the one pipe, I can open them both up, and physics makes, they level out.
It was so damn simple. You like I think the title, I was like, this has got to be clickbait, because you're like 5 minutes or less. You literally don't use any tools, right?
No, it's just the cam lock cap that's on the line. Oops, sorry.
That's okay.
The normal line, and you pull that off, and it's got the same kind of connector on it. You twist it on, and then you even just use that same cap on the back side of the valve, and it worked great.
I was watching that. I was like, is this cap going to reach? I wasn't sure. I was thinking it would, but I was like, shoot,
Yeah. I mean, it actually took more time to set up the camera and stuff than to throw it on. Like you could probably just go throw it on if you wanted to do it for a weekend, and then if you needed to, I don't know why you would need to separate them again. That wouldn't make sense. But you could pop that off in a couple seconds. Yeah,
it was. What any other little gadgets or any other problem solving solutions that you've come up with? Put you on the spot there, sorry.
The water bandit is what it's called.
What's that?
It's actually a rubber adapter so you go to the spring or the state park, and you're going to fill up with the water, and you go to screw on the hose to the faucet, and if the threads are all messed up and you can't screw it on, or there's no threads, they're worn out because these are out in the weather in public parks. This is a little rubber adapter that you screw onto your hose, and then you can pull it up over the nozzle. And
shit.
Yeah, if it's tight enough, it'll work. If it's not, you might have to squeeze your hand around it to make it tight enough. But yeah, it'll get you by if you can't get that threaded on.
I think one of the coolest things about RV life, or at least, I mean, I say it like I'm an expert. Like, I think we spent 3 nights in our camper since we bought it. But anyway, but it's the little gadgets you find,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Amy asked for to make sure we share links. So I will do my best to get the links to the products from you if I can, we'll throw some in afterwards. It might not get in there till tomorrow, but we'll get some links up for the cool little products.
Yeah,
I love that.
For sure.
So what kind of challenges? I mean, you've some of the stuff you've modified and changed. Like you put was that a second input that you put in, or another port for? Was that land power and generator power? I can't remember what that was.
Yeah. So when we were designing the solar system, we were going to go with so I went with midnight midnight solar component for the charge controller.
Okay.
We were going to go with a different one. It was a Outback, I believe. But when we started looking at the warranty and whatnot, there was some stuff in there that it wasn't designed for mobile applications because of neutral to ground bond switching, kind of technical, electrical. And as far as the electrical engineer I talked to, it's theory, basically. But to code, the neutral is supposed to be grounded to the bond at the closest point to the electrical entry. So if I'm plugging into shore power at a campground, they should have that at their panel, should be bonded at their panel, because that's where the electricity is coming in. And if I'm plugging into my generator, it should be bonded at my panel in my camper. So to achieve this, we ended up running another inlet cord and have a transfer switch that I wired up to it's kind of got a double breaker in it, and when it's on, it ties the neutral to the ground, and when it's off, it breaks that bond and kind of safeguards everything. I don't know, it was all theory, and just wanted to do it right, by the book. And so that's what that was all about. And so that was an education I got from trying to spec out parts and talking to people about warranties and stuff. And they're like, no, we wouldn't cover it because of this. And then I'm talking to an electrical engineer, and he's telling me, yeah, it's never going to happen, but sure, whatever they want to write in their warranty.
You didn't show that little dual transfer switch in any of your videos yet, have you?
No, I haven't. That'll be in the solar install, because that got all goofy when we were designing it. I was actually ordering a fully incorporated panel that was going to take up a 1 by 2 foot space on the wall, and we had to go away from that because of that warranty issue. So I ended up having to redesign and order a whole big electrical panel that has all AC, DC inputs and outputs and breakers for each of the solar panels. But so it turned the project into another. I think it took an extra 6 weeks because we had to make that change and figure out how to wire it all and redesign the space. And so it's all it's like trying to put 10 pounds of crap in an 8-pound bag when you're trying to put it in a camper. So it definitely it was a challenge, and
added a cost too, I'm sure.
Actually, it was cheaper.
Shoot, okay.
The Outback product was pretty much high end. It's what I really wanted to go with, because it'll probably be removed from the camper and put in. If we ever settle down, we'll be off grid because we'll have actually lived it in the camper. So living it somewhere else wouldn't be any different. So everything was designed to where I can pull this out of the camper and use it wherever we stop. Okay. So I was designing the solar system with the components that are going to last 30 years, and ended up going with the ones that will last 20 years. But by doing it myself, I don't know, I might have broke even by all the extra wire and stuff I had to buy, but the actual components were a little cheaper.
Bonnie Blue over on Float, she says that it sounds complicated. So,
it was an education. Yeah, I love learning stuff and learning it from for somebody that really knew what they were talking about. And I'd ask them a question, and I'd get a 4-page email response, and it was fantastic. It was all the technical knowledge, and I'd eat it up.
I'm a big backup power geek, so I cannot wait to see that video, because I get idea, you know what I mean? Like, the solar thing's been all new to me, and I enjoy seeing what you're doing with it so far. So I'm looking forward to, because I wouldn't mind, just for the hell of it, setting up some kind of solar system in my RV. So I'm looking forward to it. So definitely do a whole video lining that up, because I'd love to see it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I got a lot of the install stuff, and then I'll definitely be walking through it and going through all the different stuff and why we picked what we did and how it works. And the nice part about the stuff is the longer I use it, the more content I have too, because it's either going to work or it's not going to work, and should let people know.
Absolutely. So what's next for Brian and Kori and baby Walter and the whole family?
Lots of content, hopefully. 2 videos today, lots of editing, looking for any really opportunity to get us kickstarted and out of Minnesota. So working on the house every day after work, getting rid of our stuff and paring down to where I would like to sell it to somebody that wants to do what we were doing. I got 7 years of time and money and labor and stuff into, I got 200 comfrey plants that are 3 years old out in my back field that, I was making a couple $100 a week off of all year. So I want to find somebody that's going to continue that understands the value of the time and the systems that have been set up and, the 5 years of apple trees we planted. And, if it wasn't Minnesota, it would be really hard to leave, but we're just not happy here. So it was a tough decision to kind of shut everything down with all the work we've done. So, but look for somebody that would appreciate it and just move on and hand that off. And I'd like to be a resource for them if they have any questions too. So
that's really cool. And have you enjoyed doing the content creation? Obviously you must a little bit, or you wouldn't be doing it, but are you learning quite a bit? Because you've really kind of ramped that up a lot, haven't you?
Yeah. I finally got I use Power Director for my video editing, and I kind of started to, it all of a sudden clicked one time. Yep. The recording process and getting things set up, and do I record video and then do voiceover, or do I try to do it all at once, or all that stuff is kind of coming together. And I actually recorded episode 0 of a podcast Saturday morning and spent 3 or 4 hours, learning how to upload it to the host and setting up all the RSS feeds and whatnot. And so now I'm learning Audacity and how to do audio. So look for that soon.
Will do. Yeah.
It's all set up. So now it's just a matter of getting some bandwidth to do it.
And the process comes, right? Like it's, we'll bring this up. Amy, of course, a fellow podcaster. Yay, podcast. Absolutely. I have been, I don't know, I'm pulling my hair out. Well, there's not much to pull out, but I've been like, I've just had so much, AirPod or earpod time or whatever lately. And I just don't have enough podcasts that I like. I know there's thousands, but there's only certain ones you like, so
for sure.
That'll be good.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to it. So, have Brian in my ear once in a while. Right. But
yep. Yeah, maybe we'll be talking too.
I would love to. Yeah, we'll do something like that down the road.
That idea is kind of really kicking around in my head. I got it on the whiteboard next to me, so that's right there along with mine. So
that'll be awesome. So we've been about an hour. If you got any questions, throw them up there. But while we're finishing up here, Brian, so where do people find you? All of what are you up to? What are you heading into? And tell us a little bit about where we can find your links.
Sure. So like I said, Kori does a social media across the board for the dogs. You can find it pretty much Facebook, Instagram, Float. I don't think she's on MeWe, but that's Baby Walter and Company. If you search that in any of them, it comes up. I mean, she has different handles and different ones, but they all kind of pop up if you search Baby Walter and Company. I'm at the Lots Project. It's down in the corner. Was down in the corner there, but the Lots Project, and that's on
there we are.
Instagram. Instagram, Facebook, Float. I really enjoy Float. YouTube. I think if you search for us under the Lots Project, it'll come up. But I think the actual YouTube link is some weird squirrely numbers and letters. But if you go there and you search for the Lots Project, it'll come up. HappyHillsHomestead.com is our website. We kind of divided that, just like our YouTube channel. There's a section for Baby Walter and Company that she does. She's selling. Actually, we're getting into selling photos of the dogs. She's got really good. She comes up with some really phenomenal photos. So we looked into doing a print on demand section of the website for the dog photos and some of the nature photos that we get with the homestead and the traveling and whatnot.
That's cool. What are you using for print on demand? Any certain service?
I think it's like Printify, Imagely. I don't know. I looked at so many of them, and we're just kind of getting it figured out. I got the page up there. I don't even know if we promoted it or anything. She's got, I think last check she had 14,000 pictures or 24,000 pictures on her phone. I mean, she's got to like delete pictures to take pictures type of thing. She takes so many. So yeah, it's a matter of just like going through all the stuff at the house, is going through all the pictures and finding the best ones. Cause I don't know, I only got limited space on my website.
Absolutely. And if any community members have questions about RVs or any of that kind of stuff, do you mind people sending along and picking your brain a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You can comment on any of our YouTube. We're still small enough that we see all the comments and try to reply to them all. Any of the social media, you can send us a message and we'll get back to you for sure. I hope I get busy enough that I can't, but at this point, you got a really good chance of getting a hold of me.
That's awesome. Good. Anything else you want to share with us before we sign off here, Brian?
No, man, I really appreciate having me on and having me as the community spotlight last month. That was pretty cool. Yeah, and we'll have to do it again for sure, and tell people to keep an ear out for maybe a little collaboration between some of us.
Oh yeah, I think the best part of these community spotlights is, well, we get to collaborate as, you know, content creators, but you also make friends out of it. You know, I love it. It's awesome. So thanks for being on, man. I love
chatting with you and Instagram and stuff. You throw up a post and it's like, oh man, I was thinking the exact same thing. Or, you know, us blue collar guys, we see all those same jokes the same.
Absolutely. I love it. Yeah, it's been great. So thanks for coming on, man. If you want to hang on just a second, I'll put you in the background and we'll chat right quick when I'm all done.
For sure.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. That was incredible. Anyway, Brian, I knew it was going to be awesome. I'm going to try to get maybe him and his wife on in the future. And maybe we could do like a 4-way chat with my wife and him and Kori as well. So that would be great. But if you guys have any questions, follow-up stuff for Brian, you know where you can find him on the Lots Project. And guys, I know you can spend your time absolutely anywhere. Thanks for hanging out in the workshop with me, because it means the world to me. So thanks a lot, guys. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.